I made 18,000 in 7 months, which only averaged out to about 2,500 a month, which is not much. There were times I was doing at least 12 hours or more in a day. The week of July 10th, I made $882 and worked a total of 61 hours that week. And I had never made that much in a week. So I had a plan that if I continued to put in that amount of time, I could get my bills paid down. Well, a couple weeks after, my account gets deactivated. One morning, I go to the app and it said my account had been deactivated. The reason they deactivated my account was because of the felony conviction on my record, which really didn't make sense because, like I said, I had been delivering for DoorDash for a couple years before I began driving for DoorDash full time. So at the time I applied, my conviction was 4 years old and 7 years old at the time of the deactivation with no new convictions. So it didn't make sense of the reason my account was deactivated. I believe there is more to the reason they chose to use the conviction as a reason to deactivate my account. Now, I was told by someone that it may have been because I was declining low-paying orders, which my acceptance rate did go down. So, who knows? But once I did receive a violation that something was not delivered. But what was strange, I didn't receive the notice until a day later. Now, I always tracked my orders and kept a log sheet. So if ever I had to dispute a violation, I was able to tell exactly where I dropped the order off. So the violation they were speaking of was an Acme grocery order. And I remember this delivery like it was yesterday. And I had made note on my log sheet. So I'm walking up to the house and there was a woman standing in the doorway on her phone. The woman never opens the door to take the order, nor does she say anything. So I made a hand gesture. Do you want me to leave it at the door? Because it was a leave at the door order. The woman says nothing. So I put the order down. I take the photo. As I turn around to walk back to my car, I get a text that I dropped the order at the wrong door. And I'm like, why didn't this woman in the doorway tell me the order wasn't hers? So I take the order to the correct address because the woman texted me her house number and it was in the same development. This order was so strange. But anyway, I go to the house and I put the bags on the step. And I take a photo with my own camera. Because I had already used my chance to take the photo on the last house. And then after I take the photo, I get in my car. And so I'm waiting for someone to come out. So I wasn't sure if it was the correct house, so I waited. And the person never comes out. I wait, and then I call to DoorDash. And then she finally comes out and waves her hand. So the other violation was a handed to me order the person was claiming they never received. Yet I was never reached out to about not receiving the order. And customers were pretty good about reaching out, especially when they are waiting on their food. So if you take that photo and it's not their house, they're going to call you right away. So this is the one thing that I did not like about delivering for DoorDash. Because sometimes you could get a handed to me customer order. But yet, in the description, for example, this customer here says, open the front door and leave on enclosed porch. So it's like, what do? Do you wait for the allotted time to take a photo or just leave it on the porch? You know, if a customer was a hand to me order, but they're not coming to the door, you use the prompts to say, the person is not available, and then you have to wait. So I'm not sure of the time frame, but I believe it's at least 5 minutes. And once that time is up, then you can take the photo and leave the order. But from my experience, DoorDash was not an easy job. Very frustrating at times. And at the time of my deactivation, I think I had completed over 3,000 deliveries with the two violations, which really were not actually violations. After all the deliveries, I was just really getting tired of receiving the low orders. And I'm going to show you some of the orders that I was receiving. Like I would get one like this one here was like $2.25 to travel 9.5 miles. Then another one, $4 to travel 7.3 miles. $3.25 to travel 4.8 miles. 8.2 miles for $4. $7 to travel 11.8 miles. $6.50 to travel 11.3 miles. It was not easy. And they would repeatedly send the same order. And when I declined, that would cause the acceptance rate to go down. So I don't know, what DoorDash drivers are making today. But when I was driving for DoorDash, the pay was not good. You made your money from customers who were generous enough to tip. And without the tips, you are not going to do well relying on DoorDash pay alone. I've had customers tip in the app and plus gave another cash tip in hand when I came to deliver. So if not for those generous people, I would not have made the amount of money I made driving for DoorDash. And it was so frustrating. Actually, when they deactivated my account, they really did me a favor. Because it was really too much. It was really too much. When I made the 882 in a week, I spent over $100 in gas. I mean, the frequent oil changes from putting so many miles on my car, it was a lot. And there was times I didn't even have enough money to put in my gas to put in my car to do DoorDash. So if they didn't deactivate my account, I would have still been doing DoorDash. But for exactly what happened, the deactivation is the reason why I said I did not want to rely solely on DoorDash, which was the reason why I also, reached out to the EEOC because I felt if not for the wrongful termination from IKEA, I wouldn't have had to deal with the frustration of driving full-time for DoorDash. And when I called to the EEOC, it took 4 months to get an interview. I mean, I called in February and could not get an interview until June. I thought either I'm being singled out or there's a lot of people with complaints about their employer. So, after waiting the 4 months, you would not believe what happened. And I'm going to cut this video here, but I will explain what happened with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, which I think is really a joke. But okay, so that's all for this one. All for now.